Good evening to everyone tuning in and rocking with MossBurgh, as well as the guest that I have for us. One of the guys, one of the homies. He's not really a guest when he's on the show because he's part of the crew, but it feels like he a guest the way we converse and go back and forth, as well as all the other guys when you in the building and on the show with MossBurgh. So I appreciate everyone tuning in and appreciate you for joining me this evening post game sports. How's it going this evening? Ready for what
Yeah,
if Wednesday?
yeah, man. I appreciate as always you having me up on here, man. It's real fun to talk about the topics you have in store for the good people on YouTube and all across the world. I appreciate you having me, brother. It is all good. I'm excited to get it popping with you. What's good with you?
Yes, sir, man. It's appreciated, man. And I didn't mean to have the late applause, but it's like you got to hit that round of applause once you finish because the mic just still be checking itself, man. And shout out to you for what you do because even though I'm busy on my work days, I can't wait till Thursdays for your show to come and drop. And I'm looking forward to that as well tomorrow. And we are back with another episode of What If Wednesday. And I think we're at part three. This is What If Wednesday, part three. If we want to know for those who are just tuning in, maybe for the first time of this What If series. And this week, we have quite a slew of topics. And again, before I get into that, I want to thank everyone for tuning in this evening and want to give a shout out to WTP for Life, Unc, who we call him, One Take Zay, City League TV, SEC Shine, Parlay Poe of Blissburg. I'm going to take my hat off, just a tad bit, but, I can't wait to see you, to hug you, dap you up. Go Blue to me is a blue bud. Your boys got a national championship in basketball after a few years of football, man. Excellence, excellence, excellence. And between both of those programs posts, which is crazy. I know we on What If, but I'm gonna talk my talk when it comes to, respecting the university and saying what I say, because two sports, and in those 2 seasons, one was undefeated, and I believe one only lost three. That's something special when you think about it in the sports world. And you talking blue, that's Go Blue of Michigan Wolverines. So shout out to both teams of the undefeated national championship football, the national championship basketball team. And yes, we gonna get it going soon with that discussion of greatest college basketball team of the respective university. And we're going to come at Go Blue as well. And again, we appreciate everyone tuning in this evening with MossBurgh and post game for What If Wednesday, part three. And we see Parlay Poe in the building. What's going on, Parlay Poe? And we appreciate you tuning in as well. And we have Micaiah. Can you say, ooh, woo? Yes, indeed. If that's the way you wanted it, there you go. And we are going to get started this evening post game. Any thoughts before we get in? Because my ankles is biting based on the topic and the players that we got coming in. As many ankles that they done nabbed in their careers, respectively. But we also got a big man, and we'll get to that. Anything you want to say to the people before we get into these topics tonight on this What If Part 3 this evening?
No, it's a great show you put together because it's like, you know, being a guy who grew up, late '90s, mid '90s, early 2000s, glued to the TV watching basketball. It's always fun to think about, an alternative universe where, Allen Iverson wins the championship, C. Webb wins the championship, Charles Barkley
So,
wins the championship, players like that who never won one, but had a profound impact on the game of basketball. So it's always exciting to discuss stuff like that, man.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we not going to hold the people. We not going to hold the people. And every time somebody give me a question, I'll come through with an answer. And the first one is the answer himself. That is, what if And this is part three, ladies and gentlemen. You got to go back and you got to check part one. You got to check part two. You got to just go back and check everything that we've been doing. And that says check it. I can't forget about check it or respect it. That comes on Thursdays, and go back and check all those. But what if Allen Iverson won a title in 2001, the lone time that he got there with that a massive Philadelphia squad? What's your thoughts on this post game? What if AI got him a chip, and that was a big chip, 2001?
Well, first of all, I would have been absolutely crushed that whole entire summer, bro, because I grew up as a huge Laker fan. I I gotta start with this, man, before I get into AI. That year, the Lakers, that probably was the best team I've seen outside of the Chicago Bulls. But that playoff run that the Lakers were on that year, that was the most devastating, the most dominant postseason run I still have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Uh, man, who I don't even know what people in the chat talking about, but let me stay focused here, man. Um, the way they swept the San Antonio Spurs that year, the way they swept the Sacramento Kings this year, made
Yeah.
easy work of the Trailblazers. That Laker team was an absolute juggernaut. And outside of Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, Shaq and Kobe, greatest duo of all time. So respect to that team. But had
Not
Allen Iverson, go
not
ahead.
to cut you off. I like the fact that you were speaking on what you were speaking on the Lakers post. We gonna come right back to this. Allen Iverson, for the mere fact that you broke into a question that I didn't put on here for the people, but what was one of my what ifs? The Lakers did go undefeated in that 2001. I couldn't put a what if AI won it without adding that what if. So to continue on with what you were saying, no disrespect to cut you off, but I like where you was going with that. Lakers talking that 2001. Continue on, sir. I love it.
Yeah, man, just a dominant performance. It's like, man, they couldn't miss like during that playoff run. Like they just couldn't do any wrong, man. You had Shaq and Kobe, Rick Fox, Robert Ory. Man, hey, get this dude out the chat, man. I don't even Disorder 71. Get his ass out of here, man. Nobody got time for that. But anyway, um, cause it's like, bro, Allen Iverson, you gotta think, man. If you the majority of people aren't even 6 foot, right? So Allen Iverson had like the youth, he had the culture on chokehold, like his influence, man, his influence, like man, hey Moss, you gotta get these people out the chat, bro. You gotta get these some weirdos in the chat. You gotta get them out of here, brother. These some straight weirdos. I banned dude, but anyway, I don't know how people have time to do stuff like that. But anyway, you here for good sports content, and that's what it's gonna be. Y'all can keep all that weird stuff. I don't know. Go to another channel with that weird stuff. But anyway, like Allen Iverson's influence on the culture, and like you gotta think, most people playing basketball aren't over 6 foot. I know Allen Iverson is rated. They say he's 6 foot. I have a hard time believing he was even 6 foot, bro. Uh, I can't hear you, but I mean the influence Allen Iverson had on the culture at that time was similar to what Steph Curry's prime was, and the
Yeah.
influence he had. And I think it's because if you're a smaller guard, like a lot of guards that I played against and with, 5'5", 5'4", it's easier to relate to a smaller player in the NBA. So
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why I think Allen Iverson was so influential during that time. But Man, you gotta think about that team, bro. Like Alden Iverson, I believe he averaged like 30 plus points that year. They didn't have a player on that team that didn't average more than 12 over 12 points, bro.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me? That team didn't have a player outside of Allen Iverson that averaged over 12 points per game. Now, the thing that made that team go is that they were a defensive juggernaut. You got Dikembe Mutombo in there, Eric Snow, McKee, guys like that, Tyrone Hill. These
yeah,
guys went averaging over 12 points, and he led this team to the NBA championship against one of the most dominant teams in NBA history.
right.
Now, had Allen Iverson won that championship again, I would have been heartbroken that whole summer.
Yeah,
Probably when it came out my room. But anyway, they beat the Toronto Raptors, they beat the Milwaukee Bucks. Now I think they beat the Pacers in that year in the
yeah,
Eastern Conference playoffs.
yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, I can vividly remember that series because I'm not gonna front. I was rooting against them against the teams they were playing. I like Vince Carter back then. Vince
Yeah.
Carter missed some big shots in that series.
Hmm.
Uh, the Milwaukee Bucks were Ray Allen. They were able to beat that team. So first of all, it would have been a hell of a run if
Man.
he was able to do that, and then you parlay that with them taking out Shaq and Kobe Lakers. It would have been an all-time historical run, bro.
Yeah,
And I can't even imagine how big Allen Iverson, how bigger he would have been, because he was always as big as you can get during
yeah,
that point.
yeah.
Like
Totally.
the crossover, the cornrows, the swagger, the shoes. I know you had a pair of those.
Oh
I
yeah, I had a couple.
definitely, I definitely had the black and gold answers. The black and gold answers were sweet, man. But it just would have took him to another, shot him to another stratosphere.
Mhm.
Uh, it- man, his influence was already on fleek mode, man. I don't know how much bigger you could have got, but definitely adding a championship and the style he would have added a championship, knocking off those Lakers.
Yeah,
And Coach Brown, man, that was just a defensive team, man. Like
definitely.
that, to only have really one scoring threat and to have all the rest of the guys bought in on the defensive end of the floor,
Yeah,
like that was a coaching virtuoso by Coach Brown, and I give him a lot of credit. He's definitely one of the better coaches of all time, in my opinion. But man, I don't know how like bigger Allen Iverson could have got because I always thought he was humongous. He just influenced all the basketball players, all the guards that I was around back in the day. So man, if he would have won that chip, Moss, man, I don't know. Maybe he would have been able to run for president and win.
man. You said it. I think you said when you talk about a city of Philadelphia, respect is respect. Allen Iverson could have ran for president in that city with a title in his hand, which is crazy to me. You know, when we think of when we talk about what if these things, and when I say crazy is because we think about those things. We didn't think about them then, but we think about them now when we have some of these things in discussions and seeing how much he's an icon today, to that city, still to that team, where he grew up in VA, so many more. But when it comes to if Allen Iverson would have been able to take down a Shaquille O'Neal, who was averaging a couple points more than him, that season in the playoffs. It was like Shaq was ousting him of what he did during the season. Like, I can oust your scoring title and go above you. And what Cole was doing, rest in peace to the great Bean, the legendary, the Hall of Famer, the GOAT himself as well. And, a supporting cast, Ori, Fox, Fisher, even Brian Shaw. I mean, it was so many players that propelled that team, but it would have been like David taking down Goliath. And they mentioned that many times in that first game. And I think for me, the difference maker was Allen Iverson being 6'7", as they say, for me in that game one that they won. And I think he gave it his all. He kept and continued to each game after that. But I think up until that point to the season, his team was like, man, this is a tougher task than what I think. I think it would have been legendary. I think probably top two, if not top greatest point guard of all time. And he played point guard, shooting guard, and we just spoke on a guard last week about this same position with the what if. So it's a lot of things that could have happened, in this time, and as we still speak on the what if. And for me, having Matumbo leading the league defensively, but the crazy thing about this, the Lakers and the Sixers had the same identical record post. And for me, I think they just ran into a team that had Kobe and Shaq. That was unstoppable. If Allen Iverson would have had another score, it would have been possible. But the next one we have up on the topic, I think this is one for me that I like because I felt he changed the game in so many ways. I think people would possibly consider him the best power forward of all time with the championship. And with that championship, he would have had to defeat MJ, who everyone, of course, majority considered a GOAT, arguably with what Bron doing respectively and what the great done as well. Barkley winning a ring. What's your thoughts on this post game? Sir Chuck, Mr. March Madness himself, the man that I just love what he do and how he's, like an icon in basketball, Hall of Famer, the whole nine, man. What's your thoughts on Chuck if he was able to win the title?
Just, I mean, before I get to Chuck, man, I want to say one more thing about the Iverson thing, if you don't mind, bro.
Nah, you good.
Uh,
You good.
Man, listen, when they won game one in LA, because you got to remember back then the playoff format was 2-3-2. So the
Yeah.
Lakers had two at home, then three in Philly, and then finish out the two in LA. Like when they won game one, bro, I was devastated. Back then you thinking like, man, there's no way this dude is gonna beat the Lakers single handedly. Like, there's no way he can be this better than Kobe. There's no way he can be this better than Shaq. They eventually got in the form and figured out how to beat the Philadelphia 76ers, winning four straight after that upset win in LA, pretty much single handedly by Allen Iverson. I mean, like I said, great defensive team overall. They have some
Yeah.
really good defensive players, but man, that to have a guy like that was truly unbelievable. Now, getting to Charles Barkley, bro, it's like, man, Charles was amazing. Like a lot of people, especially younger people, they don't understand. Like that dude was like 6'4", 6'5", like playing power
Yeah.
forward, like rebounding, like dunking on people,
Yeah.
like posting people up on the low block, man, turning that shoulder. Like
Yeah.
they don't understand how impressive that was. And his ability to score and take over a game. Charles Barkley really was that dude, Moss,
Yeah. I
as I
agree.
know you know that.
Yes. Yes.
But
Yes.
for the younger viewers who don't know, Charles Barkley was that dude on the block. Athletic, big, strong, and undersized when you talk about the traditional power forwards of the game. I thought he was better than Malone.
Hmm.
Malone 6'9", Charles Barkley 6'4", 6'5". I thought
Yeah.
he was better than Carl Malone, bro. But if he would have won a title, first of all, Moss, Shaq wouldn't have any comebacks on their show against
Yeah.
Charles Barkley because that seems to be his biggest comeback is
You
you
didn't
don't
get a
know
ring.
anything about winning championships. Google me.
Yeah.
You never won. How can you tell us about winning a championship? You
Right.
don't have any championships.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It's the funniest thing ever when he go after Chuck, man, and Chuck go after him. But
For
he
sure.
definitely wouldn't be able to use those lines when it comes to winning championships. But man, I felt like, man, if Charles Barkley was able to get a chip, we talking about 10. getting into that room of 10 to 15 best
Yeah,
players of all time,
yeah,
if he was able to capture that elusive championship, which he never did, but if he was able to do that, Moss, we talking about going from a top, what, 40 player of all time to a
yeah.
top 15-ish, maybe
15.
20,
I
15 play
I could
around there.
argue, yeah, you could really argue possibly and say 10 with his size being the biggest factor in him playing big like that down low. Because if you really think about it, Chuck really dominated everything and everybody. He just didn't have a title.
Yeah.
That's the
That's
crazy thing.
Yeah, and it's the same thing for Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson, I know they say point guard, but he really was a two guard. I
Man,
mean, come
changed
on.
the game,
Chuck,
man.
Charles Bart, it's the same thing with those two. They were undersized for their position, but they dominated it.
Yeah,
So really, it's the same thing with Allen Iverson, man. All the jokes are over. Well, I don't think people joke with Allen Iverson, but talking Charles Barkley, all the jokes are over. You never won one. You know, that regret of maybe if I did this, or maybe if I went and played here instead of going to Phoenix, maybe this happens. You know,
yeah,
all that regret. But it's interesting because Charles Barkley says all the time, Moss, like I felt like I was the best basketball player
bro.
on anytime I stepped on the floor until he played Michael Jordan in that finals, and he ended up admitting. And salute to him. I disagree with a lot of stuff Charles Barkley says, but I respect his basketball game.
Yeah,
And he said, like, for the first time in my life, like I knew I wasn't the best basketball player on the court after we lost to Michael Jordan and Chicago Bulls in the championship.
yeah, yeah. Let's welcome SEC Sean in. If you got a chance to watch that 6 o'clock, 6:15 preview on what we got coming up this weekend on the NASCAR, make sure you go check it out on SEC Sean. If you want to chime in, tap in on this question on the what if Charles Barkley won a title? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, Charles Barkley's still one of the greatest of all time, but I heard post game, he's right. I mean, the whole joke of the best to never win one would be gone. But it also goes back and take into consideration this was before the era of jumping to super teams. There was no, hey, let's go all join. He didn't call up Mike and be like, hey, let's go join up with Scotty and come join us in Chicago. There was no super teams back then. He was the Superman on his team,
Yeah,
and each team had one to an extent. Some were just better than others. So, you give Charles credit. Yeah, I mean, it'd have been neat for him to win a title, but he was still considered one of the best players to ever play this game. And, take into consideration that he was always told he was too short to play in the NBA. His body style wouldn't allow it. And yet he was one of the most fiercest rebounders there was.
agree. Anything else that you would like to add to this one post game before we get out of here? I just, for me, I think he definitely would be up there. I love Chuck's game. I just think from, me really looking at it over the years, I never really watched his documentary. So I think about a month ago, I watched his documentary and really watched, his growth, from him being a young man, all the way up and people, you know, asking him so many different questions to where he's just himself. He's just going out here playing a game that he loved. And he was just, like he said, a big old teddy bear. Everybody thought he was something more than what he was. He just was a natural, guy trying to hold his own on that basketball court, knowing what he was going against him. So I respectively, say Chuck is definitely up there with the greatest. You played against Mike, in a dueling series. You went head to head with Shaq, many years, even though you didn't get a title. You're talking about one of those guys out of that era where Jordan kind of, weaned himself and expanded and resurged into MJ, the GOAT we know. I think Barkley was the one to where everybody really feared outside of MJ in that era.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, y'all both said it all. And what up, SEC Sean? Good to have you on, man. As always.
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, y'all said it all, man. I mean, Charles Barkley was awesome, man. And a lot of the younger people don't know. They have no clue how good. They just think he's some analyst that be talking crazy. You
Yeah,
feel me? But
he's not.
Charles Barkley was really like that, man. He
Yeah,
had game.
Well,
Like
they're
I go ahead.
I was going to tell you they're not wrong on him speaking crazy as an analyst either, though. So
Oh, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt about that. But man, I love Sir Charles's game. The what they call the mound round of rebound,
big
something like
mouth.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
big
yeah,
mouth, big time.
that's where I got that's where I stole Angel Reese's nickname from, man. I call her Pretty Brown Rebound. But
Love it,
definitely,
man.
man, Chuck, he got that championship. He would have definitely moved in another room when you talk about he's already an all-time great. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah,
there's different rooms when you talk about all-time greats.
for sure.
yep,
So
100%.
we're gonna switch gears a little bit. I decided to, I know I've been posting quite a few different images and different ways. Last week I did post one and I popped out for part two and it had Roy Jones on there. It had a QB on there. We're gonna get to that too, but we stepping into the boxing ring and speaking on a very interesting what if. To me, I'm 43, the Sugar Ray of our time. And, that leads me into this next question. If you know, you know. What if Roy Jones didn't lose part two versus Antonio Tarver, which brings us here for part three on What If Wednesday as well? So I left it there for part two to bring it to your attention this week on part three. And when you think about this Roy Jones, you had a fight with, Ruiz, and then you had the Tarver, and he could have set himself up and left legendary, um, left as arguably, I would say, one of the greatest to ever put on the gloves of in a boxing ring. You know, we seen with our own eyes what Roy was able to do, but that brings us to that great question: what if he didn't lose in part two versus Antonio Tarver? We're gonna start off with you post game, then we're gonna bring it to SEC Sean. What is your thoughts on this one? And I think this will really wake up a lot of people because for the young, like you said on Chuck, nobody really know about the boxing ring unless you watch it. So you might want to go check your records and look up Roy Jones, who switched from, I think, super heavyweight to heavyweight. I mean, the weight difference was about 20 pounds in this. So what's your thoughts post game?
I mean, man, Captain Hook, Roy Jones Jr. was a specimen. He was amazing. He was really exciting to watch. Like nobody brought it like Roy Jones Jr. did, man, in his prime. Um, you mentioned the weight. I
All
think
right,
one
y'all
of the
got me.
yes, sir.
Okay,
I
hold on a
think
second. I gotta get this changed. I got a problem with my computer real quick.
Go ahead, post.
yeah, I think the mistake that Roy Jones Jr. made, like back in the day, is that he was switching weight classes like we switch socks.
Yeah,
I think that was a big mistake because I think he overestimated like going up in weight and then draining your body to get down to another weight class. I think that was the big mistake he made. So we'll start there. But had Roy Jones retired undefeated because the losses kind of made him like, okay, this dude can be touched. You know what I mean? Before he was losing, it felt like Roy Jones Jr. couldn't be touched. And another issue with Roy Jones is that, and I hate saying this because I respect and love Roy Jones Jr. so much, man. That dude was just a legend. He was different. But the thing is, like and I'm gonna compare him to Floyd Mayweather as he got older, Roy Jones as he got older. The difference was, to me, is that Roy Jones Jr. relied on his athleticism, to school people. When you get older and you start losing some of that athleticism, what do you now have to lean on as compared to Floyd Mayweather as he got older and his hands got more brittle? Like, he relied on his defense, his IQ. Roy Jones always relied on his athleticism and
Yeah.
that hook. You feel me? So when that feet ain't moving as quick as it used to do, now you not so much invincible. But had Roy Jones Jr. retired undefeated and won those fights with Tarver, bro, there's no question in my mind that he would be on the Mount Rushmore of boxers ever. Like, some people still have him in that regard. I don't think as many. If he
Yeah.
had went undefeated and had that cloak of I'm invincible still remain and tied to his name, I think it would be a lot different. But man, had that man was bad, man. Had he retired undefeated, he would be definitely on the Mount Rushmore.
I agree. What's your thoughts, SEC Sean, on this one? Roy Jones Jr.
Let me throw a quick apology to everybody. I switched over to the computer and forgot that YouTube was still playing the show, so I was getting double echo and feedback. So if anybody heard any double echoes coming from me for a second, I apologize, but I've got that closed now, so we're good. But these are always weird for me because I used to be into boxing, and then I got away from it. Boxing just became too rigged for me. It almost felt like. And I know I'm not alone in that and I know a lot of people disagree with it, and that's fine. That's why we have sports, because we got to agree to disagree on certain things.
Yeah.
Roy Jones to me is on the Mount Rushmore, though. He is on there due to, he was considered by many to be one of, if not at his time, at his peak, the best pound for pound fighter out there. Post, you're exactly right. He was just athletic. He could outlast you. He didn't necessarily have to knock you out, but he was going to be stronger in the later rounds, and you weren't. And you're spot on with like you said, with Mayweather. Mayweather is so much more tactical that in his older years, it's easier to win fights. Not that it's easy to win one. Don't take that wrong, but it's easier to win one when you don't get hit. Yeah, there you go. The IQ. You hear about it in football. He's got a football IQ, basketball IQ. He has a boxing IQ that is probably unmatched of anything we've seen. Had Roy Jones, the losses, I mean, I get it, the loss to Tarver and stuff, but to me, back then, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me, but I think I'm right on this, he was the boxer from the U.S. that was pretty much stripped of the medal because they gave it to some other South Korean or something. Well, wasn't that Roy Jones in the Olympics? They got pretty much screwed.
Yeah, that happened to multiple USA boxers, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I remember it happening to him, and it was huge. It was massively controversial. And then he came out and dominated in the ring, in boxing circles. And to me, it brought a lot of eyes at a time when boxing kind of needed it. You had a lot of eyes on it when Tyson was rolling, and then it kind of slipped away a little bit. And then Roy Jones kind of brought it back. And then Mayweather kind of carried it on. So Pacquiao was there too. But to me, boxing needed Roy Jones, and that's why I have him on the Mount Rushmore. I think he brought more attention to the sport of boxing at a time when boxing needed attention.
I like it. I think, for me, it's good to see Parlay Poe as well in the chat. And he had a comment in there, which a lot of people seen, with this fight as being, a draw, questionable. He said he lost the first one too. And, for me as being an onlooker, I instantly thought that it would be a part two, in this fight. And for myself, I was like, I think this is probably the dangerous fight, to go into, knowing that first one was kind of questionable. And as well, for me, what if? I think you're talking about the greatest, arguably, we still have Floyd being people's choice, but I think Roy Jones would have, been at the top of that list, without a doubt. That's just my thought when it comes to that as well. For me, my next what if, I'm just going to snag into this one, not with the homer. I seen a Bengals fan in here. Shout out to you. Appreciate you tuning in, and Hude as well to you. I was trying to stay away from the injuries this week, as I was telling posts, and I've been telling the guys, but I'm gonna throw this in there, man, just for the fun. And if you could take it back to this, we got Parlay Poe in here as well. I think it'll be a good one. What if Carson Palmer did not get hurt in that game? That I think, as a Bengal fan, it's a game you never forget, as a Bengal fan. And if you're just a football fan, I think, at times it's something you think about all the time. But what if Carson Palmer didn't have his injury early in his career, but I think that was where he really was taking it to the next level? What's your thoughts on that? And I'm going to come to you first, SEC Sean. What if Carson Palmer did not have that injury?
Well, I mean, this is kind of a tricky one because I can name a few times where I could say this about my Bengals. Back in the Super Bowl against San Francisco when Tim Crumrye broke his leg, things like that. There's all kinds of. But as far as Palmer goes, I think because back then, okay, let me put it this way. If that injury was happened today, if he came out and he was in the draft this year, whatever, and that injury happens, he's in a much better place due to the medical science and technology we have nowadays. I think it kind of derailed his career. He had a serviceable career in the NFL. I don't think he was what he could have been. And I'll be honest, that's my fear with Joe Burrow. Now Joe has the better medical teams around him and stuff, but to me, Carson Palmer was the savior for the Bengals back then. That's how we looked at it. I mean, he was the next quarterback after, pretty much the next one you hung your hat on after Boomer left. Seriously, we had some others in there, but that injury, I think, just set him back. And I think by the time he got back to where he was Carson Palmer, you had already had all these other quarterbacks in the league that were now taking the lead over him. And he turned into, I hate to say, a serviceable backup because he was a starter still, but he was never the Carson Palmer we expected him to be.
100%. Oh, listen, man. I was watching Carson Palmer back at USC. He was a hell of a quarterback, and unfortunately for me, pretty much won the Heisman by shredding Notre Dame to pieces that year. Oh my goodness, man! My goodness, he was on fire. Listen, man, if Carson Palmer doesn't get injured in that game, I believe it was the Steelers, right? Where he took the
Yeah.
low hit. Him and Ocho Cinco go down as one of the greatest quarterback receiver duels in history. I'm pretty sure. I think SEC Shine pretty much said it, but I'm pretty sure we weren't able to get the best out of Carson Palmer due to his injury. And like he said, like the medicine isn't what it is, the technology isn't what it is today. Carson Palmer was like coming into the NFL, like he was like that prospect. Like
Yeah.
he was that golden boy, golden arm, California, USC Heisman winner. I think he would have shredded a lot of records and possibly would have got a Super Bowl, man. Like I said, him and Ocho Cinco probably would have went down as one of the top, five wide receiver quarterback duels in history, man.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree with you both. I think also to add to that, you know, being a Bengals fan, for me, like you said, it was like, a savior coming. Oh my gosh, we got a great quarterback. Not seeing a quarterback in a Bengals uniform since a Boomer Esiason. Really being back there and you feel that could lead your team. For me, it was devastating. I cried. I cried real tears, not just as a fan, just watching it happen to him as a player, knowing that, he got to go home and live life, as well. But for me, like you said, Ocho, Carson, probably one of the best duos we'll ever see. The possibility of Cincinnati having a Super Bowl and that curse being gone, which I'm looking forward to this year. But one thing that I love about this for if we think about it, USC and their quarterbacks, it seemed like Carson Palmer came out. And if you see the quarterbacks after Carson Palmer, it seemed like USC has been a university that's getting quarterbacks in the NFL, along with other universities, but they seem to have these quarterbacks with those, arms that, has some skill. We see what Sam Darnold has done. And in his time at USC, guess whom they compare him to? Carson Palmer. Earlier in his career, Carson Palmer. So, I think USC, you could look at them and say this is a factory. Just give these guys some time. We see the potential in them as well. And, unfortunate, as Parlay Poe said, unfortunately, it's a lot of what ifs like this. Very serviceable QB. We appreciate you tuning in this evening, Parlay Poe. And once again, if you got any comments on Go Blue, please leave them in the comments and give the flowers to Parlay Poe and his Go Blue squad, who, when I say they put on the show for the NCAA World this season, they put on the show, and you got to respect that. And I don't know, just like I said, man, just appreciate the university, and not to mention, I'm glad you in here, Parlay Poe, because y'all got a Frozen Four that's tipping off tonight at about probably right about now. What was that? 8:30. So shout out to your Go Blue Michigan Wolverines in that Frozen Final Four, the Frozen Four as they call it, man. Shout out to what they're doing, and just me, I'm gonna throw it out there, man. They're blue blood. Before they talk about Michigan being a blue blood, you heard it from MossBurgh. If they haven't said it, but I'm gonna say it. They have blue blood. Just my opinion. They say North Carolina, not. I'm gonna say Michigan could be opening the door and walking right on in and putting themselves right where they need to be. As for, anything else, is there any, just before we get into the next one, anyone if that could come off the top of anyone's head? I'm gonna start with you, Post, then I'm gonna come to you, Shine. Anything that you could think about that we could tap into off the top of your head, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, we can go all night with what ifs, bro. We can stream to about 5 a.m. on the what ifs alone, dog.
Yes, sir.
Uh but I mean, one for me would be what would have happened if Peyton Manning never had the neck injury? Like and stayed with the Colts. Like how would his career would have ended? I know he went to Denver and they were really successful. I mean, he still got the passing touchdown record to this day from that team. I believe it was his second year that he set that record, but he had a heck of a receiving core there, and he was just on fire. Like with the injury, you saw him, like you saw his arm talent like decrease, plummet a little bit, but he was so intelligent as a quarterback that he was able to lead them to a Super Bowl. I'm not taking away from that defense, because that defense all time. But for your quarterback to essentially not be able to pass downfield and only have his mind to really lead that offense, like, I still think that was incredible. I know his stats fell off, but during that Super Bowl run, but man, to have a quarterback that intelligent, that was an amazing feat. But what if he never got the neck injury and stayed in Indianapolis? That's a great one to think about.
Definitely. I like that.
So
Go ahead,
throw
SEC,
another one,
Sean.
Indianapolis. What if Andrew Luck just doesn't up and retire?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, be real. I mean,
y'all getting in there tonight.
Does Indy win more Super? I mean, come on. I mean, he was. I know he had dealt with some injuries and stuff, but he was still technically in the prime, and he just walked away. So I mean, there's another. What if just for your Colts? That's just one team.
Yeah, I mean,
we could do.
That's a dynasty for you. You talking about, just respectively, you talking about the passing of the torch right here. You talking about the passing of the torch in an organization in that time where, knowing what Brady was doing in NFL, I see your questions coming in. I appreciate you, Brother Barnley. We're going to get to that as well post-game, because that's why I had that FSU logo. And we going from part 2 and bringing it in to part 3, as you've seen the Roy Jones, you've seen the Carson Palmer. And I appreciate this. And as I was getting back to it, the dynasty, because you have a Peyton Manning in an era where they thought Brady was the greatest. And one time during that streak, and I still felt that I like Peyton Manning because of what he was able to do. And post-game, being the coach, being in that backyard, bending air in South Bend, knowing what they were going through, that would have been special. It would have been a torch passed on to, I would say, Manning pushing Luck to continue on what was built, and having Luck in that short career, I think we would have seen something special. And Indy, and you talking about how Brady had just those years in New England, you talking about, I mean, a century and some in Indy that could be going on, and even passing it to Daniel Jones. And we see how he could really be in this coach organization, with what they have. And could you give the hats off to that organization and what they do as well? Not to interrupt, but I mean, that's some great what ifs that you guys brought up. I love those, and I appreciate it as well.
Well, here's the thing: you got to think of like the butterfly effect. Like, if Peyton stays, the Colts probably don't get Luck. But to SEC Sean's point, like, if Luck doesn't see, the thing with Luck is that during his tenure, we had a terrible, horrible GM.
Mm-hmm.
Just terrible. I mean, they were letting Andrew Luck take beatings, and he still was putting up numbers and performing, still making comebacks and leading us to victory. I believe, under this regime, and rest in peace to Mr. Irsay. We know his daughter has taken over, but Irsay's last few years on Earth, man, where we had a different GM, like, and we still were able to have Andrew Luck, a healthy Andrew Luck, I think the Colts would have did it eventually.
Yeah, I agree. And we appreciate it. Like I said, our brother Barnley, we're going to come back to, he said Joe Burrow already holds, and I'm coming right back to you, Parlay Poe, holds records for the most playoff wins, quarterback wins, over, Ken Anderson, Boomer Esiason, 5 playoff careers combined on their end. And I agree, man. I can't wait. And Brother Bondi, if you could send the email to what you see at the bottom, Joe Moss 1001, I would love to have you on for my Bengals season preview this season as we kick off our season talks, which will be coming up soon, and indulge it. And we had Parlay Poe in the chat with us, and he's been in here the whole time, and we appreciate it. And he's been talking at Go Blue. I thought he was going to type it in the chat, and he said, what if Charlie Ward played b-ball instead of football instead of basketball? I apologize. What if Charlie Ward played football instead of basketball? What's your thoughts on this one? I'm going to come to you first, SEC Sean. What's your thoughts on this one?
On this one, this is a toss-up. I mean, Charlie Ward was dynamic at both of these. Quick little story about Charlie Ward. I actually had dinner with Charlie Ward at a Golden Corral in College Station, Texas. Shout out Golden Corral. Y'all can sponsor us if you want.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It wasn't just me. We were parent and code. We had a 7-on-7 football team for our high school. We were at the state tournament in College Station, and so was the team he coached. And one of the coaches on our team with us was Todd Scott, former NFL safety from the Minnesota Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew Charlie Ward. And so we sat there and timed it up with Charlie Ward. And while our players were recruiting his quarterback to come transfer to our high school, his quarterback named De'Eric King. So that's a little quick story on Charlie Ward. But
oh yeah,
Charlie Ward was dynamic as of an athlete, as we had numerous of them back in that day. Bo Jackson, Dion, Charlie, numerous two-sport athletes that you just don't see anymore. I honestly think Charlie could have been sensational in football. I think Charlie chose basketball more for the non-injury aspect, if that's fair to say. You get into the NFL, I don't think Charlie wanted to be getting hit by 260-pound linebackers running 4.4s at him. I don't really think that was in Charlie Ward's. He was okay. He was okay driving the lane and having Bill Lambier knock him to the ground or something, but he wasn't real keen on, like a Lawrence Taylor type just taking his head off. So I think he chose the path of least resistance. But I think he could have been dynamic at it, either one. He was a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah.
I agree. I think the thing about it was Charlie Ward was probably ahead of his time when you talk about football. Basketball, and that's probably why he chose to take the basketball direction, as SEC Sean just articulated, which I 100% agree with. I mean, you talking about a Heisman winner. I think he would have been great in the NFL. The only problem is does he even play? I know Charlie Ward is a little smallish when you talk about quarterback, so I think he made the best decision for him. But my man, Brother Blondie, what if Jerry Jones didn't fire Jimmy Johnson? That's a hell of a question.
Real quick, Post. I like that too. And I think, it's crazy because he would have got picked to the Kansas City Chiefs possibly. So could Charlie Ward have been that guy that now, guess what? We seeing and seeing the new level of what Charlie Ward could have been doing years ago and what Mahomes has done for the Chiefs. I'm gonna leave it at that, and we can come back to it. What was you talking to him about post game? Go ahead with it.
Real quick before we jump onto that one, Post, because that's a big one I want to hit too.
Yeah.
But another thing on this whole Charlie Ward thing, you are dead right there. He was ahead of his time. That was not the quarterback that people drafted back then. He would have been asked to go to wide receiver, kick return. He was not going to be a quarterback. I'm not saying he couldn't have. I'm saying he wasn't going to be a quarterback in the NFL in that era.
Oh, exactly.
Special. Man. I wonder if him and Mahomes could sit down for a talk and just, man.
Look, because Moss, if you talking because you got to think, when was this? Like 90 what?
That was back in I believe 1990, because I was
it
94,
92, 93,
94.
somewhere in that range?
92,
He
93.
would have been a backup to Joe Montana, bro.
Yeah, bro. See, now if you talking, you know, art right now, he probably been a first overall pick. But
Mm-hmm.
you talking 93, you know, I just think he made the right decision, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been. That's a great. I love that question though, because like that's something I never thought about. And you think about, like you said, the Charlie Ward, and for him to go do basketball, and for it to would have been to the Kansas City Chiefs, and now we see a Mahomes who's doing what he's doing, winning Super Bowls, building that dynasty in Kansas City, and doing some of the same things that we seen, Charlie Ward do at Florida State and become that Heisman Trophy winner, which we already know. He still holds that record, Heisman Trophy. But you going and getting drafted, doing your dirty work for the New York Knickerbockers, respectively. And major feats there. So, shout out to Charlie Ward and his career and what he did from the University of Florida State on now, who he was raised by, is, the whole nine, man, as well as everyone else and what you do that we come across and we mention your name in these sports talks. We appreciate it. As you you could go ahead and handle this one, Post. I seen you in there rapping with Brother Blondie, and we appreciate you tuning in this evening, Brother Blondie, with your great comments and this great question that the guys will tap into. What's your thoughts? You could go ahead on this one, Post game.
No, because it's like I know of quite a few Dallas Cowboy fans, and one thing they always talk about is that, you know, they got some disdain for Jerry Jones on how he handled the Jimmy Johnson situation. Like maybe it was some jealousy. They didn't want him bigger than Jerry, little petty stuff like that. But man, if they keep Jerry Jones, because I believe they won one after Jerry Jones, right?
Yeah.
But had they kept Jerry Jones, Jimmy Johnson, I mean, man, could they have went like multiple more years in a row in the Super Bowl? Because
Man.
the team was intact, man. They had an overwhelming offensive line. Of course, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman. Those guys are just legendary players. Now I know that what's my man name? Michael Irvin, suffered the devastating injury or whatever. But man, I just like Jimmy Johnson. I believe he would have kept that organization in the Super Bowl conversation for years to come. That's a hell of a question, my man.
Yeah, yeah. What's your thoughts on this one, SEC Shine? This is America's team, and this is, I think it, man, this something special, crazy.
Being from the great state of Texas.
Yeah.
Back then you were, well, even before you had one of two options. You were a Cowboy fan or an Oilers fan. I was always a Bengal fan first and foremost, but Dallas used to be my second team, and it wasn't a bad choice because they went on that run in the 90s with Jimmy John. You're rooting for a Super Bowl champion.
Super Bowl champ, yeah.
and they won 3 and 4 years. And the third one was with Barry Switzer. Now, I could have coached that team. In fact, we're going to put it this way. Ray Charles could have coached that team, and they were going to win the Super Bowl. Okay? Barry Switzer was just a figurehead on that. That's all he was. He did not have to do anything. Troy Aikman ran that offense, and you had a defense that was just ferocious.
Yeah.
So I can tell you, I flipped, and I became a Texans fan and left the Cowboys alone when Jerry Jones did that, because that showed me that you're either Jerry Jones or you're nobody in his mind. The Cowboys were garbage when Jerry Jones bought them. he brings in Jimmy Johnson. They make this trade with the Vikings. Shout out to the stupidity of the Vikings. But it revamped that whole roster. And then within 2-3 years, they were in the Super Bowl winning them. And since that day, there's and I can list you off tons of people around the Dallas area that despise Jerry Jones. They're Cowboy fans, but they hate Jerry Jones. They want him to sell the team. Yeah. And that's the reason why. Because if they don't get rid of Jimmy Johnson, the Cowboys in the 90s probably win 3 or 4 more Super Bowls and are probably talked about like the Patriots are of recent memory, if not more.
Yeah, I like that. And again, man, Brother Blondie, at Brother Blondie, man, we appreciate you. Shout out to you coming in with the great comments, questions. And again, man, you could definitely email me. You could check in with us, and you could check out WTP Sports Dudes, WTPSportsDudes.com. You can get the full view of us all. You can check out our website. Don't forget that. And make sure you tap into all the channels you see at the bottom, all the great nutrition and sponsors you see at the bottom as well. And I am your head cook at KT's Good Eats, and we got some special things that's going to be cooking up for the people throughout the city coming up in May, as well as some pop-ups for those egg rolls that you always talk about. But not to keep you away, just real quick, we at about an hour, and we, getting ready to hit the showers, very soon. But for some, they up and they watching us. So we going to give them what they want to see. Anything you want to say post game, yeah, come at it. Talk to me. We here.
Yeah, before we wrap it up, man, I gotta get your opinion on something because
yes, sir.
Angel Reese was traded to the Atlanta Dream, and I think that was a humongous deal. Like it could change the landscape of women's basketball. What was y'all thoughts on her? Because you think about this. I know that Brittany Griner is unrestricted and Jordan Canada is unrestricted free agent. They should bring those 2 players back, because to add them with Alicia Gray, I think Atlanta, I mean, they were good last year. Now you bring in the premier rebounder of the league. Like, that was awesome. I just wanted to know y'all thoughts before we close out on that.
Not super big following of the WNBA. Keep up with it a little bit, but that did pop up on my feed, and that's how that tells you, for somebody who doesn't really do the WNBA. I keep up with the Dallas Wings. I don't know why, but I do. But for something like that to pop up tells you how big of a news story it was on my feed. Okay. Yes, I know who Angel Reese is, but she's a dominant rebounder. I was trying to come up with a comparison to make for what it would be like in the NBA, and I can't, because you would never. It's not quite Luka Doncic to the Lakers, but it's in that zip code of that kind of trade for the WNBA. Players like that aren't traded normally.
Right.
So that's why I put it in that zip code of Luka to the Lakers, just because it's weird that something like that happened. So that would be my take on it. Yeah, I mean, good for Atlanta. So we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, it was pretty shocking when I saw that pop up. That's pretty much my take on it. When you've done with your take, I got one what if I want to see y'all's thoughts on.
For me, mine, I actually thought it was probably one of the best things that happened. I don't know if a lot of people really, lock into it. And like you said, SEC Shine, you don't watch it as much. I think with it coming up as a notification, I think you was maybe thinking like, I might have to watch the WNBA draft to see what this could have possibly landed into. Her teammate Flaugier is coming to the NBA. That is WNBA respectively, my bad. But I think this pairs them 2 together in Atlanta. Atlanta's in the top 10 for picks. I think Flaugier and Angel, I think they back together in the WNBA. And I think this is something that's been waiting to happen. I think Atlanta in the East, with Indiana in the East, Caitlin Clark is back, Angel Reese in the same conference. You talking about the WNBA draft kicking off here in a couple weeks. We gonna be locked in. I'm tuned in. I'm taking a day off. I'm checking my schedule because this is for me, I think, very big for her career. I think this is one of those moves where you get with the right organization. Nothing against anything and where she was at. I think it's about where players are fitting for what they do, their culture, their self, and who they are. I think all of these things fit perfectly. Atlanta, the music scene. Guess what, Flaugier? You and Angel Reese about to drop a video draft night. I don't know. I'm just speaking it too. It could be possible. But I think this could pave the way for some things like that to happen. And first thing I thought about was them playing together in Atlanta.
Bro, they cooking with grease now. I mean, think about it. Tahina Pow, Ryan Howard,
Yeah.
Alicia Gray, which I mentioned. Bro, they cooking with grease.
And they got the money.
And between them, New York, you can never count out New York with Stewie.
Yeah.
You know, we know what the fever gonna be, you know, right there with anybody. So I mean, but real quick, I know SEC Sean want to cook, but this dude, brother Blondie, man, just dropped another nuke in the chat, man. The Lakers and Sparks are still the only teams to win both the NBA and WNBA titles in the same seasons back to back.
Get out my book. Get out my book, brother Blondie. I was bringing it to you next week. Let's tap into it this week. Let's get it. I think that's diabolical. I think what you want to say, SEC Sean post game, because y'all Laker fans, I think that's still, I think a lot of people don't really even talk about it. That's why I actually had it on the docket.
And you know what else is crazy about that? It's that the Lakers had Shaq,
yeah,
and Sparks had Lisa Leslie.
Yep.
So they both had two dominant centers at the time.
Yeah. Yep. And if you think about it from the guard standpoint, who did Lisa Leslie have at the guard standpoint with her at that time? You know what I mean? So it's just wow.
Yeah, I mean you had them do it. Houston was close. Houston, the Rockets won it, what, 94, 95?
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back and think, the Rockets won it 94, 95. And then the now coming back Houston Comets went on a four-peat, 97, 98, 99, 2000. So the city of Houston actually won 6 titles in a row in basketball, across different, classifications. But the Comets are coming back though. So yeah. I know the city of Houston's excited about that. They've been wanting the Comets back for a long time.
Yeah, if it's up to me, they never would have went anywhere, man.
Right. That was the original dynasty of the WNBA. Yeah, I mean, brother Blondie got some bangers coming out at us here. Love it in the chat. Love to see it.
I don't even know if I know brother Blondie, but like I said, I appreciate you tuning in this evening. We're gonna have to email, we're gonna have to network, we're gonna have to chop it up, because I would love to have you on and feature you, and not just a conversation with MossBurgh, but bring you on for one of our what if episodes as we continue on and on throughout this year with these shows.
Brother Blondie,
somebody we don't know.
Right. Make sure you subscribe, my brother. Yeah. Wherever channel you watching this at.
Subscribe to them all. That's Jam is what he says. Okay.
That is our encyclopedia Jam in the building, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize. We normally see Jam's face at Brother Blondie, and I'm going to make sure, because he actually have his own YouTube channel, and we also should subscribe to his, because when I say that encyclopedia is open and that book never closes, He's hitting you with gems each and every time a conversation. Jam, we got to have you on for what if one of these episodes. And again, man, we appreciate you coming in with these great thoughts and dropping these gems and jewels and another great show on this Wednesday evening.
Hey, Moss.
Yes, sir.
Hey, did Rod come out of nowhere, dog?
Came out of nowhere in the building, and that is Unc in the building. And when I say he is enjoying his vacation, hopefully you got your feet kicked up right now, Unc, just enjoying. But it's good to see the CEO of WTP Sports Deuce, the man that put us all together and given us the platform to do what we do best. And again, man, we appreciate it. And we just getting started. We just getting started. And I think everybody know what we mean when we say that, when I say that. I love what we do, man. And SEC Shine, not to keep the people waiting. We coming right at you. What is that? What if that you got for us this evening? Crack it open.
Little bit off the chain here. I'm not going to go into my NASCAR realm because nobody would really have a what if on it. But we're going to go into baseball. And a few years back, there was a player had all the tools. The next 5-tool superstar was on his way. Got injured in minor leagues, was drafted number 1 overall, got injured in the minor leagues, got hooked on drugs, got suspended forever from baseball, indefinite ban. Worked his way back, came back, and put on one of the best home run derby in Yankee Stadium, and it was Josh Hamilton. The kid was built different. What if he never gets sidetracked? How are we talking about him as one of the greatest of all times if he doesn't get sidetracked?
Easily, in my opinion.
My bad, post. Go back. Rewind. If I could rewind the chat, SEC Sean, can you come in with that again, please, sir? Because that right there, I think you just dropped another explosion with that one.
Number 1 overall pick for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays back then. Was drafted number 1 overall. And actually, if you want to know, drafted overall in the 2nd round, number 1 was Carl Crawford. Josh Hamilton came out of North Carolina with everything: speed, power, arm. He had it all. Hit for power, hit for average, run, throw, play defense. He was in NASCAR world, there's a guy named Joey Logano. And when he was 16, people called him the next best thing since sliced bread. That became his nickname. Josh Hamilton was above sliced bread. This kid was going to, I believe, break most records in baseball and got sidetracked on drugs when he got injured. My question would be, if he doesn't ever get sidetracked, is he one of the, are we talking about him like we talk about a Barry Bonds, like we talk about a Mickey Mantle, a Babe Ruth? Is he in that category? Post, I know you said yes a minute ago. I'm 100% with you. I think he's breaking numerous records. I don't think it's close.
I gotta agree with you on this one. I mean, I remember that story vividly, man. Like, I remember being friends with a lot of baseball guys. I'm a Yankee fan. I love my Yankees. I really tune in when it comes to postseason. But I remember that era with Hamilton, and as you was telling the story, like, I knew who you was talking about, but I forgot the name. And then you said the name, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, that dude right there would have been legendary." I definitely agree that he would have went down as one of the greats, because you saw how good he was after the aftermath of all that. Yeah. He still was a good player.
Yeah.
But you talking about if he was able to avoid, the situation that derailed him, if he was able to stay in, on that straight and narrow path, I'm talking about, Alex Rodriguez. I think he would have been better than A-Rod. I really do. Speed, power, everything. That I do remember. I don't know as much as baseball as other sports. I know my Yankees though. I know the Sandman, Mariano Rivera.
Yeah.
But I remember the Josh Hamilton situation, and I definitely agree with that.
You know, it's something you mentioned that because I felt like Post, I was trying to figure out where you was going, and when you said it, I just my eyes lit up because I remember that home run derby, man. Like I remember Yankee Stadium. I mean, you talking about again, man, someone that was ahead of their time, man. Like if Josh Hamilton could have just blessed baseball with, man, this was a great one. This was a great one, SEC Sean, because you're talking about, like you said, post game legendary. I think we still, the fact that we talking about him in this whatever shows how great he was. And when you seeing the slugger, I thought about Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle. You doing this in the Bronx, slugging at bat. You think of these guys. You don't think about nobody else when he's batting the ball. You forget it's Hamilton with the first name Josh. So, you know, for me, this is, I think you're talking about a legend. I think you're talking about someone that's just above and beyond baseball before we, you know, officially seen some of these balk sluggers and what we see today. Josh Hamilton was him. Great one. And Unc said, go ahead.
I saw that. I was going to hit on that in a second, but as a Rangers fan, which I know that's going to tick off your uncle over there, being an Astros fan, and I'm a Rangers fan, it seems like he just hates every team I like.
Man, on the opposite side of the fence.
And that's fine. That's whatever. I mean, somebody's got to be right and somebody's got to be wrong. I hate that you're wrong, Rob, but it's cool. As a Rangers fan, though, I got to see that whole Josh Hamilton thing. Yeah. And I'm going to tell y'all something. You hear about things like this all the time. When he hit a baseball, it sounded different than anybody else. It sounded like a bomb went off. I saw him hit that 4 home run game against Baltimore. Yeah, you're on the wrong side of Texas, SEC. No. Never.
You done got him started. Unc is in the building.
No, it's fine. It's all good. We got a big baseball series coming up this weekend. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. The return of Jim. I can't say what I want to.
That starts Friday afternoon, don't it?
It starts Friday.
Friday. Okay, I'm gonna have to get it. I'll probably watch some highlights Friday night when I get off.
Yeah, I can't say that coach's name, but it'll make me throw up. So that's going to be a big series this weekend. But yeah, I mean, that was just something that popped into my head during the whole what if thing. Is what if that just stays?
No, that's an excellent one. That's a really excellent one.
That's a really good one.
And to Rob, man, you know you my dog and all, but man, listen, my Yankees hot to start off this season, brother.
You already know it.
Them Astros got to catch up a little bit, dog.
Tell them, Post, they just got swept by the Rockies.
You said by who?
The Astros just got swept by the Rockies.
Well, he ain't gonna say that. This just a get back season for the Yanks. We know where we coming for this year.
And my Rangers just swept the Mariners, so we sitting in first place now.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to our ace Garrett Cole hopefully getting back, getting and being healthy, hopefully returning to form. So definitely, I mean, my major concern with the Yankees coming into the season, and they kind of surprised me. I didn't expect them to come out this hot. Was I felt like they've leaned more to, you know, analytics and big bats when, you know, we all know you win in October with pitching, man.
Yeah. I think it's just good to see them come out, you know, as I am a Yankees fan as well, just see them, you know, doing what they do, using what's available. And I don't see it as looking as getting ahead, but doing what you have to do to be that, you know, to coach and compete, you know, on a weekly when you have a pitcher like Cole that's out and getting healthy. And I think, you know, once he get himself, like you said, going and he's having a great season, I think the Yankees, sky's the limit, as we seen in last year. You know, we was right there. I think we could get there and exceed where we were last year. You know, so health is going to be a big factor, but outside of that, I'm definitely, you know, looking forward to the Bronx being a place this year come postseason for sure.
Man, you a Yankees fan too, Moss?
Come on, man.
Oh my God, what is wrong with people?
Do I got to go back? Do I got to tell you the reason? I used to sit down, watch the Columbus Clippers, watch Posada catch it as a catcher. And shout out to Doug Jones' daughter is who I will be having on the show soon, and I'm working on a cut up for. Oh man, it's gonna be special on the edit. But you know, I get excited when we talk about the Columbus Clippers because that take me to Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams, some of the guys that even though that was a Yankees club to send them up, but I watched those guys up close and personal. So it's a personal things with them Yankees. Man. From here to New York is big.
You taking me back to the glory days, man. You talking
Diamond Dog Night, Post,
Bernie Williams, Paul O'Neill, Jorge Posada, the captain. Like what? The Sandman, Mariano Rivera. Man, stop it, Moss.
I see him on that mound in that stadium here in my hometown. It was special.
That was that's I'm kind of hoping that the Guardians will call up my boy Jay Slaviolette from A&M soon. We went to a Clippers game a couple years ago where there was a kid from Alvin, Texas, where my wife went to high school, who was a pitcher in the high school. He was older at this point, Jordan Stevens, but he pitched here in Columbus. We went to watch that. So we're going to see how it goes. The Clippers are a good time for people that are looking for something inexpensive and fun to do in the Columbus area when the weather gets nice out and stuff. Yeah. Clippers are a fun place to go to. Minor league baseball is fun no matter what.
Shout out. Yeah. Appreciate that, man. Tell them send us some tickets, SEC Sean, man. Talk to them, man. Talk to the Clippers. Tell them. We here, man. Like we will come out and support. Send us some tickets, man.
I'm too busy trying to get NASCAR tickets for people. What you talking about?
Hey.
What was the other thing I wanted to say real quick? I don't know about baseball right now. Baseball's in such a bad situation. It's the Dodgers versus everybody. They just outspend everybody. They get everybody.
Mm-hmm. So for me, I think, for the rest of the week, we got post game coming tomorrow with another great show in the evening, 7:45. Make sure you tune in. Look for your notifications. We're going to be posting, throwing stuff up on the different media sites, tagging you in it and all that good stuff, showing your posts. Outside of that, we'll have our review on NASCAR that's coming up this weekend. And make sure you tap into the NASCAR reviews that SEC Sean is diving into, because I've been working on the edit as well for him too. And I just been watching that edit for the last couple nights, just working on it and just seeing us there as a team, and can't wait to get to one of those events, because one of the things that threw me, and it's so me, and I said, I have to get to one of those events. I have to do a better job outside of my schedule and getting into this rewards app, is when you sent me the picture, all the free goodies that you get at the race is impeccable. It make you want to be a fan just seeing that video, man. So shout out to what you're doing.
But that was just the stuff. That wasn't even counting the fact you get tickets for free.
Man. So many things. And I was just like, I was blown away. So I definitely got to tap into my NASCAR reward app a little more outside of this crazy schedule that I'm slowly getting away from. Starting next week, I'll be able to be on with y'all more, have a little more availability, which is what I've been trying to do for us for this year and moving forward. So outside of that, anything that you want to say to the people, we'll bring Post back in as well.
Post, real quick, I got a question for you. Tomorrow, are you going mock? Are you drafting it? Or are you doing respect it or check it tomorrow? Post might got tied up.
I think he might be doing another episode of that check it or respect it.
Okay.
I think he might be doing
I'll keep a lookout for it. I'm not, like I said, okay. I don't know that I'll be on tomorrow with my getting prepped for my son and my 2 twin granddaughters to show up, who we just found out they are now expecting another child.
Grandpa SEC Sean.
SEC.
Congratulations.
I'm gonna have
Congratulations,
to
man.
start tapping into some oil money somewhere real soon. I need to
Hey,
give me
by
an
that
NIL
time,
deal.
listen, that's why we here doing what we do, because trust me, they gonna enjoy the fruits of the labor that we put in, man. And I just know it, I see it, and I know we not doing what we doing for no reason, man. It's just always great and being able to do what we do. And again, I appreciate what you bring with that NASCAR, because like I said, I have to tap into it a lot more myself in that availability. But like I said, I opened it up so I could start coming on those Wednesday shows prior to mine and tapping into some of those races through the week as well myself.
Yeah, for sure.
So
for sure on Tuesdays, y'all on Wednesdays for sure y'all tune in. I normally hit about 6:15 to 6:30. Go about 45 minutes, and then I turn it over. We get a break, and then Moss normally jumps on with this show, which is a phenomenal show. This is the first time I've been able to jump on live with it.
Appreciate it.
Y'all go like, subscribe to all the channels you see. Look, he mentioned the website. I'm going to throw it out there. We're on Patreon. We're going to put some content. We want to get some paid subscribers on our Patreon. We're going to start having giveaways. What we get in from the subscriptions, we give back. Okay. We're on Patreon. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Patreon myself. Moss is got Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I don't know what else you got going, but we're trying to get out to as many people as we can. And look, it's not all about money for us. It's not what it's about. We love sports. We love chopping it up. Anything that comes from it, we will give back to the people who support us. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Like I said, I got $25 worth. If I can get $25 on my Patreon, I'm going to send somebody a piece of sheet metal signed by the Wood Brothers race team. It's that easy. So, y'all follow, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to all of us. Tune in when you can. Drop comments, even if it's after the show. We have comments. You can leave them after the show's over. Leave your comments. We'll respond to them. Somebody will. If I see it, I'll respond. Moss, somebody will respond to it. So other than that, I'll quit my rant about trying to join us and get some subscribers.
No, you good. As we always do, man. I don't know, man. I might change it up and come at you with a what if part 4. But just know MossBurgh gonna be knocking at your door. The notification's gonna come to you post game. I'm coming at you. Did you have anything else you wanted to say to the people before we get up out of here, out of the building this evening, as we continue to do what we do best?
No, just a great show, gentlemen, man. I appreciate y'all. I love to chop it up with y'all. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. It helps us out tremendously, and we appreciate y'all support. Yes, and don't forget, tomorrow night, 7:45, man, we bringing y'all another one. We got Respect It or Check It. Make sure y'all tune in, man.
Yes, sir. Check it. Respect it. You heard him, SEC Sean. It's another one. Part 5. Is that part 4? Part 5 coming tomorrow? Post game is alive with it. So make sure you tune in 7:45 tomorrow evening. Tap into all the channels. I'm your host, MossBurgh of Level Up Sports 10. As SEC Sean said, I'm on all your platforms, Level Up Sports 10. Tap in with me. Go check out the edits. Go like, go subscribe to everything. Patreon, Spotify, every channel you see at the bottom. And come out when you see that KT Good Eats post, because it's your boy MossBurgh cooking up. And as WTP, man, Unc, we appreciate what you do for us. We out this evening. We came in the building, the City League TV said. And now we out. And always, as we do, peace. Y'all have a great evening, and we appreciate you all tuning in.